That's what we say in Trinidad.
Yeah?
If it's nice,
Do it twice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm here. I'm excited for the round 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Round 2 of round 2.
Round 2 is it? 2.2.
That means I'm going to be live again with Jay Wong. We just went live. Facebook decided, oh my gosh, there's Jay Wong and
The energy, the voice.
Yeah.
It was like...
But Jay, it's a great pleasure to connect with you.
It's always amazing, man.
Yeah, you walk the talk, don't you?
You know what? I try to do my best, I think, of living up to not just your own hype or the marketing hype, but I think we all have a responsibility to show up as the best version of ourselves.
Yeah.
So whatever that means to you, I mean, just because you're beating everyone else around you, doesn't mean you're playing all out.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't mean that you're going after your full potential. So I'm a big believer that you got to hold yourself to a high standard.
Yeah, and you did that. How far did you drive out to get to here?
I drove about 40 minutes.
Yeah, that's amazing, right?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, what were the chances that you would be in Vancouver when we were in Vancouver?
You know what? It's strange, right? I was we were talking earlier in the studio.
Right.
But we were like, my girlfriend and I, we decided we wanted to try out Vancouver. You know, we wanted to say, hey, we want to test it out, potentially live here one day, because we weren't sold on where we were, right? In this case, Toronto, right? Do we have to be in Toronto? You were born in Toronto. Does that mean you're attached there, right? So it was all these questions that I want to be able to choose the things that are in my life. I want to choose the conversations that are here, right? I want to choose the city that I'm in. I want to choose the line of work that I'm in, the people I want to impact. Like, those are some of the things. So it's like, why would you drive 40 minutes, right? Or like, why would you take an RV and go around, 2 countries, right?
RV is rental vehicle, folks. Did you see it?
Yeah, no, I didn't. Is the SUV out there? Yeah. Okay.
We didn't get to the RV.
Okay. All right.
I told Amanda, hey, we need to change this from RV, right?
Yeah.
And Amanda says, RV stands for rental vehicle. I'm like, I love you.
Yeah. Keeper.
Yeah. So we're there in the rental vehicle.
But you're
getting it done.
You're choosing. You're choosing to do this, right? Like, I'm choosing to spend the half an hour, 40 minutes because it's my choice, right? And I get to choose to be a part of this conversation.
Yeah.
And
I respect that a lot.
Yeah.
Because there's an energy around what I've seen in terms of how people see the sacrifice they're making for what.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you are making a sacrifice from the perspective of podcasting.
Yeah.
Right? We did connect at Podfest 2017.
It seemed like so long ago.
Ball of the entire event, right? I saw you speak there.
Yeah.
That's another thing you do.
Yeah.
Your podcast, Inner Change Maker.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff going on there. Great conversations.
For sure.
What else did we talk about when we spoke? Your earliest childhood memory.
Yeah.
Your favorite song when you were 12.
Man, that was I couldn't believe we covered so much ground in 12 minutes.
We did a bit over 12.
Yeah.
I mean, it is Jay Wong.
I sent you a message. I was like, that was a solid interview. I was like, that is I don't give that compliment lightly. Yeah.
It was definitely good, but there was an excitement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know I met you. And it speaks to the physical aspect of a conversation that we were talking about. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, seeing you and having this conversation.
Well, look, life is about how do you add in those experiences, right? How do you add in if whatever it is that you choose for yourself, right? Whether it is I want to go travel the world, or I want to go here and learn a third language, fourth language, maybe your second one, right? Or I want to just take a road trip and go over here and see an old friend that we haven't connected in ages, or maybe I just want to go a different path to work. Maybe I want to take the long way, the scenic route, So it's like, I always try to think, like, how can I add more of these experiences in my life so that I'm not just talking about it and I'm not just dreaming about it. I'm not just writing in my journal, one day I'm going to go and do this. I'm in the game. I'm making it happen so that I can live the life that I choose.
Yeah. And you are worth that. You are worth it. Like, you deserve that.
Yeah. But I'll be honest, it took me a really long time to be able to even get to this space to openly share this.
Well, let's talk about that. One of the segments we cover is your own unique real shoes, right?
Yeah.
And that speaks about people see your shoes,
Yeah.
wearing some cool shoes.
Yeah.
And they don't see the steps you've walked, the
Yeah.
struggles you've had in those shoes, right? Like, what's one struggle you've had over the last year?
Building a team, like actually getting out of my own way, right? Like getting out of, and I think a lot of, kind of like quote unquote type A personalities or high performers, like a lot of people that are kind of bought in for their, they only had themselves to get to where they are, right? I think it's difficult for them to start letting go, right? And it got to a point that I realized I could not keep growing in this destructive manner where you're changing hats all the time, where you're coming in and out of your own zone of genius. And it's something very simple, right? Every business owner that's ever crossed, let's say, 200,000, right, has probably built a team. You know what I mean? And they know once they're on the other side that it's so crucial. And because you're building that leverage. But it took me a really long time to get over myself, right? To figure out, how do I build the team? How do I build the culture? Like, what's the, and it had to get me, I had to get clear on the vision that I was actually creating. And that pulls you, when you're asking those questions, it pulls you out of the day-to-day stuff, right? Because you can't do the day-to-day stuff and still think, okay, this is the vision over here. I think you have to choose, right? Do you want to work in your business or do you want to work on your business? There's a big difference.
It is.
Yeah.
I love the idea of the vision. That's one challenge I had as well. Everyone would say you need to have your vision, mission, values. And I'd be like, no, I just go create the business and from there I come back. But it always comes back to that. Like, what's the vision? So what's your mission? What values do you have? Which creates the culture. Do you have any regrets from what you did experience to now when you look back down the timeline? Do you have any regrets?
Any time, over. Sure. I think the only regret I could possibly even have, I don't necessarily believe in a life of regrets. I believe the choices that you made got you to where you are today, right? And it shaped you as a person, and you should be grateful for that because that's your journey, right? You should honor that journey. But if there's one regret that I could reference back, is that I wish I would have had the guts and the courage to begin a little earlier, to start a little earlier. I know I'm Asian. I know we're a little in the shadows here. I get it here in Vancouver. They ask for 2 pieces of ID when you buy a bottle of wine or what have you. Literally, I've never bought a bottle of alcohol without ID. It's incredible, right?
Yeah, you look like 15.
I know. And then usually you got to look good with the speaking engagements and everything, right? Because people either paid me to be there or they paid money to be in the room, right? But where I was going with this is that I wish I had the courage to actually start earlier, because I knew, this is just for me, I knew what I wanted to, I knew what, the direction. I didn't know exactly what it was. I didn't know it was podcasting. I didn't know we were going to do online marketing. I didn't know that we would have, our agency. I didn't know any of those things, right? But I knew it was going to be in this zone somewhere, right? And I knew that at 17. I knew that at 18. But because you're surrounded with others, right, that you should probably, the teachers are saying you should probably go to school. You should probably apply to these schools. Or my parents, that they've sacrificed so much, right? For me to go to school, have a great job. They wanted me to have those things because they couldn't, and it took me about 9 to 10 years to summon, to get as much clarity and courage but when I did it, when I left the job, when I jumped into my own thing, when I started traveling and wanting to expand my comfort zone around everything, people said, "You're so brave. You're so brave." And I remember thinking, what am I you could do the exact same thing, right? You could do the exact same thing. And people were like, I can't, right? I just can't do it. I can't for probably a lot of valid reasons. But looking back, I think, if I would have just trusted myself a little more, and not operate out of that fear, probably would have helped. But hey, we're here now, right? And we're gunning, right? We're making moves, but we want to do this in a sustainable way.
What are you most excited about right now?
Well, right now, I'm not gonna lie. Right now, we did a bit of a test, right? From a personal standpoint, we know that Vancouver it's just such an amazing place. I mean, you see the background. I mean, it's just a little different than the Toronto scene. Got a lot of love for Toronto, right? But if I'm choosing the place to live, I think Vancouver kind of wins out. So on the personal front, I'm glad that we got a chance to experience that. And on the business front, talking about having these live experiences, I'm really excited because we're actually doing our first live event, our first live intensive. It's happening in September in Toronto.
What day?
September 10th and 11th, right? So it's 10, 12 people, very intimate, right? But it's an event where I can fully get behind this because there's a live experience component. We're teaching some content, but really we're there to implement. We're there to actually get the person the results. So these people are coming in, they don't have a podcast, they might not have a high-end course or a high-end system, and they're going to leave with both those things done.
Over what period of time?
2 days.
Ooh,
2 days.
Good.
So we're gonna put them to work. Obviously, we get them to do a bunch of pre-work, and they come in ready to kind of rock and roll. But I'm excited. I'm super excited about this.
When you hear that, where's the best place before I do that? Where's the best place for people to connect with you?
If you're listening to this, if you're watching this, right, the best place is definitely the podcast. The Inner Change Maker. So I know Angel. It's hard to rival your interview skills.
No, he's good.
No, it's up there. It's a little longer than 12 minutes.
Yeah, but it's
good.
But
it's good. It's good.
Good.
So if you want to check out some of the interviews and some of the people that we've had on, some of the lessons that I've learned in real time, then that's probably the best place.
When you heard that this guy from the Caribbean was coming to meet you face to face, what did you think?
I thought this guy is probably braver than I am. First thought. No, honestly, first thought. I don't know if I can do that. Right? But you see, there's that fear playing again, right? It's like, well, what if? Right? And here you are. Here you are doing it, making it happen. My man.
Well, Jay Wong, this is a great pleasure. Before we close, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Hey, if you are not showing some love to this guy, I mean, get on it. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to let us know what resonated with you the most out of this conversation. Andrew Jones, man, always a pleasure seeing you.
It's a great pleasure, my friend. Jay Wong, thank you for being on What Is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Andrew Jones. Did you have fun?
Yeah, that was powerful, man. Powerful.